Good evening, Stash fans. Tonight's topic, the movie Le Joker. The Joker, and Antonin Artaud, and the Deep State. How is everybody? Huh? I have one viewer. Le Deep State. I look like a revolutionary. Antonin Artaud and the Joker. The Joker starring Joaquin Phoenix. By a director I don't know. Co-starring Robert De Niro. Marc Maron. Gary Gulman. And I don't know who else. And some great lesser-known art actors. I have my coronavirus special ninja mask on tonight, but it's kind of a drag. Can you hear me? I'm probably going to ditch it. Maybe going to ditch it. Unmasked Joker. Oh. Yeah. Anyway, how's everybody doing? So, the Joker starring Joaquin Phoenix. It was obvious to me when watching the film finally. I put off watching this film because it looked scary. Nevertheless, it was easy. It was quite clear. I didn't even really look it up on the internet, but it was quite clear that Joaquin was certainly highly influenced and challenging and looking for the look and taking the Arthur Fleck character certainly had a lot of Antonin Artaud in there. A great conceptualizer, great occultist, great artist, very, very complex man. Dramatist. His theater of cruelty is huge. Theater in the double. An intense man. Like Arthur Fleck, he was, shall we say, highly involved with mental illness. Hey, I lost one listener already. Shit. Do I understand Antonin Artaud? No, I don't. But I'm aware that he broke down things into the lunar and the solar. The solar theater was sort of his yang sun theater, a theater of revolt. His lunar theater, which, forgive me if I misunderstood, is the calmer side. Solar and lunar drama. The rituals of theater, the male and female, the male revolt, self-assertion, and the lunar is the female. This theme carries through, shows some of his, shall we say, Oriental influences. He was also influenced by Latin magic, Cortazol, the serpent, the flying serpent deity, as well as, of course, the Greek gods, Greek societal point of view. Obviously, skilled in the Freudian stuff. Now, you could actually even see, spoiler alert, I guess, as the Joker, as Arthur. Actually, I'm mistaken his name almost to match the playwright, but is attacked right from the get-go, and it's New York, 1970s New York, 1970s Gotham. I think it's even referred to in real life as Gotham, the Empire City. Has that 1970s feeling, but as the sign is stolen from by the sadistic children of the mean streets of New York, you almost get a kind of French feeling in the beginning, or a European one, via the music playing. And he's kind of got that urban mime feel to him, as well as obviously a jester. A jester, his chosen profession is the clown, the jester. A la Rob Zombie's Dracula, the jester can be a sinister symbol. The Joker card, the deck of cards, in fact. The game is rather sinister. And the serial killer meme, the sightings. You can't divorce anything from anything, and it somewhat connects to Stephen King's It. Many people complain this is not a superhero movie for kids, certainly. Every time Arthur Fleck tries to do something benevolent, kind, he's misunderstood and badly beaten. Kind of like the Warriors, New York, or Gotham certainly is a character in this film. When our protagonist is in his daily life, it's like he's stuck in these blue boxes. Everything is disgusting, dreary, almost soiled bathroom feeling to it. The shots are, the cinematography in the film is perfect. It's got a subway urinal feeling to it every time he's in his own life. But when he goes to the upper world, I guess you might call it, like when he confronts his alleged father, or when he goes on the comedy show, Murray Arthur, played by De Niro, then there's a redness and a solar power, if you will, as Antonin refers to, is evident. I think everybody refers to constantly his downtroddenness, his weakness, his mental illness, but to my mind, we go through the agony all the time, but he begins to manifest a certain power, doesn't he not? As his fantasy to make him happy, he enters the audience of the wonderful show, a heavenly paradise of laughter. You begin to wonder if there are coincidences or something that he does. So he can hang, and he comes to the upper world, yes, I would say. And he confronts his hero. Not only that, he gets on the show. He takes on a lover, a beautiful African American woman. But maybe I was way off. You begin to wonder if none of that stuff happened. But again, seen as weakness, he's doing these things, and you get this feeling that his great intelligence is suppressed, and that's his origin. In the great American medium of the comic book, there is always an origin, and this film is an origin of a villain. It's to my understanding that it was condemned by the critics, but very popular with the masses. Maybe like The Matrix. I hate to bring up The Matrix because everybody brings up The Matrix, but something is discovered. Again, Joaquin Phoenix, you can't divorce the actor from the film in my mind at all in this. As he was in Occult, The Children of God, I believe you call it, with the actress Rose McGowan. They're both of very great ability, very, very great appeal. Very, very. Joaquin Phoenix has this quality about him. He's not your typical handsome guy. He's got a charmingness to him, and he's got this vulnerability to him. He was one of the stars in a movie from way back called Inventing the Abbots, where he's the underdog. He's a charming underdog, and he's in a number of films like that. He's quaint. And this one is hard to see him that way. And he's taken on the physicality of the playwright and dramatist and conceptualizer Antonin Artaud. Skinny, smoking, like a junkie. The body movement, the ribs, dog-like. We find that his mother was an abuser and tied him to radiator. He carries the comedy notebook, so it's I suppose in the real world it's supposed to be his state-sponsored psych notebook or something. It's like to write notes in. And in like the Eyes Wide Shut film, we the viewer get glimpses. Eyes Wide Shut. Dr. Tom is reading newspapers, and there were newspapers clippings chosen by Stanley Kubrick. In this, we get a glimpse into the comedy notebook, or his notebook, his joke notebook, sacred to the comedians, the book. Joan Rivers had a huge one. All comics carry a book, and Arthur has a book. Its course cannot be not connected to King of Comedy by directed by Scorsese. Really, actually, equally as dark as this film in a lot of ways, and creepy. And De Niro is back, except the roles are reversed. He is now the comedy show host. There's a sympathy behind Arthur, and there's an empathy with him that the viewer gets. An empathy, which is disturbing. It's almost, I could be way off, it's almost something like out of Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky, in a way. Quototolzozol. Again, that's the winged deity. So, there's no doubt that Jim Morrison was the Mexican shaman, if you will, singer, was also tied or influenced by Artaud and Arthur Rimbaud and the rest of them. But Joaquin goes right into it, and his shtick is all him. The body, the look, the smoking, the emaciated look. And there's where I quickly jump from this idea that Arthur is defenseless, because there's a suppressed intelligence that you can't deny, right? And it comes out. So you're like, I'm rooting for him, and he's disentangling the system. So the city is beating him physically. And in fact, in one of the most violent scenes of the film, he's confronted on the New York subway, which is in any great movie in New York, of course, is a ride in the subway, usually, right? The subway is a character. And he gets in a dreadful confrontation with some violent men that are they're not only violent men, they're annoying, and they look to be maybe even thinking about raping a woman, and they certainly beat Arthur. Again, there's a spoiler alert all the way in this, but if you haven't seen the Joker yet, then shut this off, of course. And he he blows them away, a la Bernard Getz, the old story. I guess a little bit before my time, but the subway vigilante. So you're rooting for him, that it's, you know, he's committing an evil act, but in this they're kicking him. You, the viewer, feel sympathy, and he takes them out with his Saturday night special. And there he's more ascending into his power. And he goes through the state records, find out he's been abused, and in fact steals them. In keeping with the current situation, it lines up with the correct political mores in that he is abused by everyone. The people who tend to cut him a break are African American, beautiful kind of African American woman. But the system figures, certainly like the father of Batman and his boss, even the social workers, shrinks, what have you, trying to save him, actually empathetic with him, they let him down. He begins to push back. You're rooting for him, which is very disturbing. Where we begin to find fault is his friend makes a mistake, sells him the handgun. He is trying to help him, though. I did, at least. If certainly anybody should judge him, because he descends fully and, of course, murders his co-worker who's trying to show him kindness. For whatever reason, he doesn't kill the short guy. Are you allowed? I don't mean to say dwarf. Height challenged. I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble. He spares that man, and he gives the circus. Everything is a circus-like, carnivalistic as well. That's a theme that crosses. Also, you'll see that every time he's doing makeup, it's within a blue box. You get the idea that the twilight blue really isn't good for him, but when he goes to solar red into his revolutionary phase and more light, like when he confronts his father in the there you go, there's the toilet light atmosphere in his world, and he goes to a beautiful laboratory to confront his dad, who's a big figure in the city. In other Batman, which is a daimonic character in itself, films, I believe Mr. Wayne is always a good guy. In this one, he's kind of a tycoon scumbag. Of course, and now the political situation disturbingly matches the Joker. In fact, some, I'll say, alleged agitators One man was even caught with the Joker mask, but it was revealed that his identity was revealed by a neck tattoo, of which tragically George Floyd was, shall we say, assassinated. One could almost say, looking at the films of the poor gentleman, that it looks almost like a ritual event. Either our imagination from that or reality. A sacrifice, a scapegoat. And the Gacy character, you can't forget that. The serial killer, the clown man. The memes over the last years, the Staten Island clown, clowns everywhere, Stephen King's movies coming out. Couples who dress like the Joker and imitate it. The seductive quality of the Harley Quinn character. Though Jared Leto's Joker has kind of a cool aesthetic look to him, completely flopped. This film, which has nothing to, many people have said it has nothing to do with superheroes, was a massive hit because it spoke to the tragedy of Arthur. Misunderstood. He just wants to love, and people misunderstand him and they fear him and they want to beat his ass. And they do, but then he transforms to a demon king. He's a demon-like king. And he does manifest power. He is a supervillain. His energy, his spirit fills the masses. Disenfranchised, and they move out as an extension of him and destroy the city. And he rises to the throne. He is the Clown King. Ha ha ha. Thanks, brother. Good to see you. BNO is on. Tonight we're talking about the Joker, brother. A disturbing film. So, I think I even read that it had, there was parts of this film that had backfired, and they had spoken to the non-illiterati. In other words, the disenfranchised toothless whites that Julian Assange had talked about. This film spoke to them too. Not just your typical. I mean, if it's a bipolar country now, it also spoke to the other side, shall we say? I have heard that. But nevertheless, the film at least conceptually doesn't violate any of the dramatist rules that were laid down by Artaud. Antonin Artaud. And until he fully transforms into the demon clown king, he looks like him. But when he finally goes full Joker and the police go after him, he's a different entity. He's a different guy, really. He's now shown that he's the Joker, that he can, that he has the last laugh. But the Comic Con, the cosplay, all the superhero graphic novels and all that stuff, this film seemed disconnected to that kind of thing. It was too painful, a little too painful, a little too real. It's not a theatric insanity, it's very real. How you doing, DNOF? Yes. I had my mask on, but I got a tan. It's me. Biometrically enhanced. But yeah, the film, it cuts both ways. It could have spoken to any party. And the grotesqueness of it was much more intense. Again, it had this the New York subway lavatory urinal feeling to it, but it was, it's yet it's strangely beautiful, weird. The doorway from one world to the next seems to be the kind of scary staircase. It looks like a staircase that Arthur descends and ascends and so forth. Definitely comes from Fritz Lang, I'd say. The birth canal wall feeling, the comes down the stairs. I thought it was there's an early movie, a silent film by Fritz Lang. I was trying to look for it on YouTube, but it wasn't. I would say that, and that the haunting stairway theme is in a lot of New York movies. So even if it wasn't supposed to, it was very, it's very New York. That would probably be the only city that could achieve this type of disconnectivity, if you will. The touchy part would be the police and what to do. And, contrary to the current events, the police are not really the enemy of Arthur Fleck in this film. They seem to be giving him due process. They investigate, they find it's him. And to no fault of their own, the police are subdued by the masses. And it gets out of control. And they're like, don't do it. I don't know what the silent film is. It's Fritz Lang. Shit, I know. I gotta look that up. Yeah, I agree. I've had some discussions with people I really admire about it. Some disagreements, and the empathy for the Arthur Fleck character certainly goes away when he murders his co-worker in cold blood. And indeed, I believe his mother. Though his mother's an abuser, he's, and deserves something to be reported, to be I believe she's smothered with a pillow or something. Yeah, and just like remember the 5th of November, the V Vendetta movie, although it's supposed to be liberating and the anonymous computer hackers imitate it, and people imitate it worldwide. You've got to question the motive behind that one too. It's supposed to be seen as this wonderful thing. Everybody wear the mask, fight the man. And yet it's another thing that processes the group hive mind, like any movie does. When you watch any film, you have to, even films that have, open your mind. Got to take every scene, every bit of it, and realize that. And there's been a lot of weird things behind the scenes in the movies. Why? The brother of Ridley Scott, who was the director of Top Gun, committed suicide. Strange. Very strange. I know that people associated with the film, Jack Nicholson, Tom Cruise, another Tom Cruise, the You Can't Handle the Truth. There was some death behind the scenes in that one. So there's stuff. There's the movie Blowout with John Travolta from way back. I think that director died in a car accident. Could have been something. Could have been nothing. Insock, yes. Big Brother. Who controls the past controls the future. Words are breaking down. History is being eliminated. History is going away. The Ministry of Love. I think that's where you go get tortured. Technology in the Joker is the only thing that's not coming down on his head, because except for the TV and the newspaper, he seems like he's not getting filmed. Yeah, they included that, right? Yeah, the Heath Ledger Joker hanging head out the window occurs a little bit different in this one, right? He's rest in peace, Heath. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. And this one, Joaquin, who to me is indistinguishable from the character, in that the real actor seems problematic when he gets interviewed. He seems almost disassociative sometimes. Or unless he just gets hammered and goes on those late night talk shows. I don't know. And the tragic death of his brother, River. They were in a very strange cult together. I believe River Phoenix starred with Keanu Reeves in a very, very controversial dark film as well, Private Idaho. I think there was some sort of male prostitutes or something that I am living in my own private Idaho. Heath Ledger was also, before he died, was in a occult film about the magician Paracelsus, I believe. And there's an eerie photograph. I haven't really seen the movie all the way through, but he's got his head in a noose, and it's very strange. Really strange. I don't know if you've seen that one, DN. Brave new brother. So yeah, that comes into question. Is this movie You can't say it's brilliantly done. You can't say it's bad and it gets you thinking. But you have that question. That question gets posed when you look at something. Is this when you view something? How's it affecting your brain? And why did the system create it for us? You gotta ask that every time you read a book or see a movie. What do they want? You are number 6. Who are you? Number 2. 6 in one, half a dozen of the other. The prisoner. I don't know if it's true. They're getting rid of things, art, and now they're talking about books going away. We're looking at a Fahrenheit 450 whatever. Gone with the Wind. I think it's gone. Statues tearing down all over the place. Is that good? Is that the way to go? Eliminate all evil. Why can't people deal with such things? Shouldn't a citizen make up this decision for themselves? Yeah. He came out of the Viper Lounge. Whoops. The male casting couch. I'm running out of power, man. Crap. I must shut down, my friends. This is part 1 of the Joker. I'll be back. I didn't charge up enough. Part 1 of the Joker. If you like this, subscribe. Brave New Order. See you soon. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell me what I did wrong about this. I'm not a huge movie critic. All right. This has been the Stosh Channel. Keep up the fight. Free your mind. Peace, brother.